Okay, so we have been looking at linear relationships. These are relationships between two things that when we graph them, we get a line. Okay, and we have seen that linear relationships can be represented with equations. There are several forms a linear equation can take, and they would all graph the same line, but they would look a little different and would give us a little bit different information depending on what form we're using. We're going to learn the first of these forms today and probably the simplest of these forms today. Okay, so I have this linear equation here, y equals 2x plus 3. And hopefully from the work that we've done in class, you can see that the slope of this line, or the rate of change of this line, is 2. And the y-intercept, or the initial value of this line, is 3. Okay, so here's the slope, it's 2. Here is the y-intercept, it's 3. A linear equation that is written this way is said to be in slope, that's slope-intercept form. Now, why do you think this form is called slope-intercept form? Could it be because it tells us the slope of the line and the y-intercept? Sometimes things in math make sense. Okay, so let's use some common abbreviations. These are things that you will see that are used for slope and y-intercept. They may not make a whole lot of sense, but this is what is used, okay? The abbreviation for slope is a lowercase m. M is the abbreviation for slope, and the abbreviation for the y-intercept is a lowercase b. Lowercase m, lowercase b. So y equals mx plus b is a linear equation in slope-intercept form. I'm having a hard time writing, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. And if we have those two pieces of information, we can graph a line that's in slope-intercept form. So here's how it works. Take good notes. We're going to write our steps here so that we have it, and then use these steps on every problem. Okay, so first off, it needs to be in slope-intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Okay, so your first step is to always identify m and b. So the slope is always the coefficient of x. That's your rate of change. That's how x is changing each time. So the slope is 2/3. The y-intercept is usually at the back, if you want to think of b being the back. So the y-intercept here is 1. So my slope is 2/3. My y-intercept is 1. Then step 2 is to plot b on the, where does the y-intercept go? The y-intercept goes on the y-axis. Guess what some of you are going to mess up? You're going to put it on the wrong axis. Okay, so here's the x-axis, here's the y-axis. How would I plot a y-intercept of 1? Well, I would go up 1 and I'd put a dot. Okay, so we've got 1 point. We need at least 2. And I'm going to say if we can get 3 points, 3 is better. We need 2 points to make a line. 3 is even better. Okay, so we're going to use the slope, which remember is the change in y over the change in x, to find more points. We're going to use the slope to find more points, but what's important is we need to start at b. Okay, that's your initial value. That's where you need to start. So from here, my change of y is 2 and my change in x is 3, right? 2/3. So my change in y, that's up and down, I'm going to go up 2 This is a positive slope, and my change in x is 3. I'm going to go over 3. So up 2, over 3, I'm going to put another point. If you can fit another one, do it again. My change in y is 2, so I'm going to go up 2. My change in x is 3. I'm going to go over 3 and put another point. We could do this as much room as we had. So then the last thing, and this is going to look terrible with this XP pen, is draw a line through the points. Draw a line through the points. Now, this is not a line segment. Don't stop at the points. Go all the way through the points. And put arrows on both ends, right? A line goes forever in 2 directions. We've only picked 3 points on there, but it keeps going and keeps going. So make sure you have arrows. You might also see somebody or some places write the name of the line, and the name is the equation. Y equals 2/3 x plus 1. That's the name of this line. Okay, so we've done one. Let's look at some more. Okay, so you've got your steps on that last slide. So if you need to look at it, your first goal or your first job is to identify M and B. So my slope is -3 and my y-intercept is -1. Make sure you use that sign in front. Okay, so I identified that. And then the next thing I need to do is plot B on the y-axis. So here's the x-axis, here's the y-axis. Make sure you don't mix that up, and a -1 is right here. Okay, so now I need to do a change in y over a change in x, but I only have one number here. How do I turn -3 into a fraction? I put it over 1, right? So now notice this has negative slope. So from -1, go back to that y-intercept. Don't go to the origin. I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, but I need to go right 1 so that my line has negative slope. Okay, so watch that again. From this point, I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, but I'm going to go right 1 because it's positive so that my line has negative slope. So I'm going to draw that line in. Ooh, that's bad. Let me erase that. Let me try again. I don't know that I can get much better with this pen. Remember that lines are straight. Okay, so that line, if it were a line, pretend, has negative slope, right? It's going in the negative direction. Always check that. If M is negative, your line needs to have negative slope. Okay? All right, let's do the next one. Anytime you want to try one on your own, feel free to pause the video and then check it when you're done. All right, so y equals 3/4 x minus 2. So I need to identify M. So my slope is 3/4. That's M. And my y-intercept is -2. Don't lose the sign in front of the y-intercept. So I plot the y-intercept on the y-axis. So I go down 2 and I put a point. And from there, I'm going to do my change in y over my change in x. These are both positive, right? So my change in y is a +3. So I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm going to go right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to put a point. And then since we've got room, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and put a point. Okay, so these should all line up. Draw a line through them, put arrows on the end, and the name of this line is y equals 3/4 x minus 2. I got so bent out of shape that this line wasn't right. I forgot its name, didn't I? This was y equals -3x minus 1. Okay? All right, we're ready to try a couple of more. All right, so this time I have y equals 4x All right, so my first job is to identify m and b. Well, m, the slope, is the coefficient of x. Here it is 4. And b, there's not anything out here. What is it? What am I adding to this? I'm adding 0, right? Is that what you would have guessed? So the y-intercept is 0. Well, a y-intercept of 0 goes through the origin, right? So my slope is 4 over 1. If you want to try to graph this on your own, feel free to pause the video and try it. So my change in y, these are both positive. So I'm going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 1. Make sure I have a positive slope, okay? And then I'm going to do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, go over 1, going to do it again. So I'm going to draw something that resembles a line. Ooh, that's bad. Through those points. And the name of this line is y equals 4x. I hope your lines are much prettier than mine. Okay? All right, one more. You're welcome to try it on your own if you want, or you can do it with me. All right, so y equals negative 1/5 x plus 2. What's my slope? My slope is negative 1/5. I would move that negative into the numerator. Okay, move the negative into the numerator. They can't both be negative or it would be a positive fraction. Move it up. All right, the y-intercept is 2. So on the y-axis, I'm going to put a point at 2. And then my change in y over my change in x, I'm going to go down 1, but right 5 because that 5 is positive, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, I have run out of room. I can't go down 1 and right 5 again. I don't want to go off the graph. Things get messy, ha ha ha, when you go off the graph. Things have been messy, right? So I don't want to go off the graph. What you can do is go back to your y-intercept and reverse, right? Instead of going down 1 and right 5, from the y-intercept, you can go up 1 and left 5, and you get the same thing, right? Those 3 points should line up. So draw a line through them and give it a name. And this is y equals negative 1/5 x plus 2. Okay, we have seen how to do it. You are going to be ready to do some practice now.